You're probably going to think I'm crazy right about now, but trust me, I'm not. Because I'm going to tell you, it's a car in Gran Turismo 7 that will allow you to do the World Touring Car 700 at Le Mans. But also, you can use the exact same car to go to Sardinia and do the World Touring Car 800, and then take that to Spa and do the World Touring Car 800 there as well. All of this with only buying 2 parts from the tuning shop? I really have to be crazy. It can't be possible, right? Let's go have a look. And the car in question is this one right here. It's the Peugeot 908 HDI. It has 700 brake horsepower and 930 kilos. It virtually weighs nothing. But first things first, if you don't have this car yet, you're going to need to buy it as always. And for those that are new to the channel, you need to pop over into Brand Central. This is where you're going to find all your cars, and being a Peugeot, you're going to have to pop over into Europe and go down into France. Peugeot currently sits in the middle. It may change if we get any new manufacturers. Pop into the showroom, and when you get into the showroom, you're going to look for this one here, the 908 HDI FAP from 2010. Now it does cost you 1,000,000 credits, slightly more expensive than some of the other cars, but when we get to the tuning shop, you're going to see why this is actually a really good option. Color wise, there's only one color to choose from. It is this blue, and then we're going to pop over and purchase the car. Now I've already got the car, but I'm going to purchase again because it's always nice seeing the car drive out just like this. Once you bought it, of course you're going to want to jump into the car. We're going to jump into the car now. From there, we're going to go into the tuning shop, and this is where the magic actually really happens. You don't need to buy anything from the sports section. Then from the Club Sport, you're going to need to go and get the power restrictor for 800 credits. And you're going to go and get the ballast as well for 500 credits. That's all you need, other than tyres. So what we do, we're going to go into racing. We're going to get the racing hard tyres. This is what we're going to use for Sardinia and for Spa. And then we're also going to need to get the intermediate tyres. This is the ones we're going to be using for Le Mans. And just in case, always buy the wet weather tyres, just in case. From there, we don't need to do anything else, so we just need to pop into the garage here so we can make our little tunes. Now if you really want to, you can go in and add a nice livery like I've done here from the new Peugeot in the WEC. But then once you're there, we're going to have 2 builds. We're going to start with the World Touring Car 700 at Le Mans, and the build for this one is quite simple. You're going to have the racing intermediate tyres. Our body height is 70 at the front and 80 at the rear. We've got 5 on the anti-roll bars, 30 and 30 on the damping ratio, 40 and 35 on the damping ratio expansion, 4 and 4, 3 and 2.5, 0.1 and 0.2. And then in the fully customizable differential, you're going to have 15, 20 and 40. For the downforce, we're going to go with 1027 at the front, and then we're going to max it out at the rear at 2000. Output adjustment, we're going to go to 86. We're then going to have 200 kilograms of ballast, and we're going to put it minus 50 on there. The reason is it just lowers the PP a little bit, but personally I do prefer that little extra bit of weight on the front wheels. And then you're going to do the power restrictor at 70. Everything else, need to leave it as it was, don't need to touch any of that, and you're ready to go to the World Touring Car 700. Stay tuned, we'll come back and I'll show you the build for the World Touring Car 800 after we've looked at the race. Hey guys, Future Chunky here, just asking for a little favour. Now I notice a lot of you do keep watching these videos over and over again, but you still haven't hit that subscribe button down below, right here, somewhere around there. It would do me a massive favour and help the channel out massively if you could go ahead and just subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. While you're there, hit the like button because it does help the video go further in the YouTube algorithm. But most importantly, can you just go in and just tell me what your favourite emoji is? Now let's get back to the video. And to find the race, as always, you need to pop over into World Circuits. From World Circuits, we're going to pop into Europe, and then we're going to look for the 24 Hours Le Mans Racing Circuit. The event we need to do is the World Touring Car 700, which is going to pay out 550,000 credits. Remember, clean race bonus will give you an extra 50%. Once you've done that, you're going to be able to press enter, and the only tyres you can use is the intermediates and the wets. This is to lower our PP, but the tyres won't be an issue. I've done this race already, I'm going to do it again, and I haven't run out of tyres, and you're going to count on the rain. That will help. There's a couple of little tricks that I'm going to show you, so pay attention on how to make those tyres last even longer. Now before you start the race, there's one other thing that I want you guys to check, and this is personal preference, but for me I find that if you go into the options and you change your race difficulty, going down to easy will actually be a better option for this race here. With the other races we will change this up a bit, but for this race going easy is going to allow you to have a much easier ride. Now obviously if you do want to have a tougher race, you can go and do the other difficulties, and with this race here you want to make sure you're on fuel mix 4 just to save enough fuel. And then what I have a preference of doing is putting my brake balance to the front of the car. This should in theory allow me to have better tyres, because remember we are on the intermediates and we need to make these last a whole 30 minutes. The things that you can do to make those tyres last are short shifting, avoiding a wheel spin, and also just being a little bit easier going into corners. As you can see, don't really want to push, want to save the tyres by not putting a lot of pressure through them. As always here, just be careful on the first lap. The AI ahead do like to be a bit weird and fight for something that's probably not needed. And then once you're in straight, just shift through those gears a little bit earlier and avoid any chaos. You also want to start thinking about the weather. Look at your weather map, see what it's doing. As you can see here at the end of lap 2, we are just starting to get the weather coming in. Our tyres are about 50% of the rears, and that is okay, because once we start getting into the damp spots, we're going to be saving a lot more tyres and the tyre wear will be virtually non-existent. The AI has started to pit, so this is where your lead really starts to build. And as we start lap 4, the rain is starting to properly hit, and this is just what we need. We don't need to worry about the tyres, we don't need to worry about the fuel. All we need to do is worry about keeping this car on track. And one thing I always find is quite helpful at this point is turning traction control up a little bit. Now I've started to get the hangs of using the car with no traction control, so traction control 2 is reasonably okay for me, but obviously use whatever you feel comfortable with. If you need to use traction control 5, use traction control 5. And at this point the whole field is going into the pits, and the chances are they're all going to go onto intermediate tyres. And when the track's a little drier than you really want, what you need to do is need to find a little bit of water on the track, and normally you will find it on the edges over here. It's not everywhere, but if you get just about in these areas, you'll be able to save your tyres a little bit more. As you can see, we're looking for that damp here as well, and there's plenty of water here that will just help us cool those tyres a little bit. At the finish line, as you can see, we haven't got enough time of a lead to just sit back and wait for the timer to run out, so we're just going to do another lap. It's probably going to take us about an extra 40 seconds. Just look at the tyres, we still have plenty of tread, even though it hasn't been a very wet race. And there we go, we're going to cross the finish line in just over 40 seconds above the 30-minute time limit. So considering we didn't stop, it didn't rain that much, our tyres were pretty knackered at the end, but there was still a little bit of meat left in them. So if it does rain, you will get a lot more tyre wear available to you. And there we go, 2 minutes 21 ahead of the next place. And what we've come for is this 825,000 credits clean race bonus, which gives us an extra 50%. And if it is your first race of the day, you do get a ticket as well for completing the daily marathon. So for the World Touring Car 800, we need to go and get a new tune. So we need to go back into the garage. And from the garage, we're going to go into car settings. Now, what you're going to see here is I created separate sheets for different ones. So I've got them already pretty saved. But for the World Touring Car 800, we're going to use the racing hard tyres. With the body height, we're going to do 65 at the front and 82 at the rear. We're going to have 6 and 6 on the anti-roll bars, 31-34 on the damping ratio. compression. On the expansion we're going to have 40 and 35, natural frequency 4 and 4, negative camber angle 3 and 2.5, toe angle 0.10 and 0.20. For the differential down here we're going to have 19 for the torque, 26 for the acceleration and 44 for the braking. In terms of the downforce we're going to go at the very top here at the front to 1223 and 2000 at the rear. Output adjustment we're going to up that to 90 this time round. We're going to have 200 kilograms of ballast still in the car, but we're going to position them at -16. That will just give the car a little bit more of even balance. The power restrictor we're going to put that at 90, and everything else stays exactly as it is. Don't need to change anything else, and that gives you 799.99 pp, just under the 800. Once you've done that, to find the races, there's two different races you can use with this car. So we'll go into Europe. The first one is the circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps, the Spa circuit, and over here you have the option of doing the World Touring Car 800 for 1 million credits. Now that is 1 hour. It's slightly less payment than the other one, which is why I do prefer Sardinia, but that is an option, and it's a really fun race to do, this one, because it does have a variable weather, and you also have day and night transition. So if you want to experience the whole benefits of Gran Turismo 7 and all the beauty of it, that is a really good race to do it in. But we'd like to do the Sardinia road track, and that's the one we're going to do in this video here. It's the World Touring Car 800 for 85,000 credits, but again you do get the 50% clean race bonus, which is fairly easy to do in this race. As you can see, you then just click on enter. Tyres wise, we only are going to be allowed to use the racing hards, but you're not going to need to change tyres at all anyway, because tyre wear is virtually zero. Don't need to worry about that, and you can use the intermediates and the wets if you like. Don't even attempt it. Now with this race here, what you need to do is just check your difficulty settings. Now with the previous one you might have noticed we did it in easy, but what I find is if you do it in hard, it does mean that you do have to overtake a little less cars. So that's just something that's a personal preference, so I will always go with hard on this one. And into the race, a couple of things that you could do. I prefer to do this race in fuel mix free to start off with, and also because you have a little bit of extra power compared to the previous race, I like to go into traction control 2. Again, I also like to put the radar on, just allows me to see where cars are as I'm overtaking, but we want to try and do it nice and easy. Now with this setup we do have a little bit less straight line speed, so you will find that getting past these cars is a little bit trickier on the straight line, but when you get into the corner is where it's going to make all the difference. This is why we just need to be a bit patient in the first half of the race. This section here, always be a little bit careful through here in the first couple of laps, or if you're overtaking, because the AI for some reason around here like to hit the brakes fairly hard. Not sure why, doesn't make any sense, but they do. But if you get into the slipstream you get a better exit out of the corners, and it does give you a bit of a slingshot. Again, as you can see here, it's a bit of a gap between us and the cars in front, but they do like to hit those brakes. Also going into this corner here, we're going to have a lot more speed than the AI, just with the sheer amount of downforce. See you later, Tidney. So you're going to be able to slingshot your way a little bit more. You just want to be careful as well as they're peeling into the pits, because the pit's on the right hand side, it is off the racing line, so you just want to be a bit careful in case they decide to go to the pits. As you can see, towards the end of lap 4 the leader's already coming into the pits, so that's going to give us a little bit of free track, hopefully by the end of lap 4 or lap 5. This here is what I mean by the AI not looking where they're going when they're going into the pits. At the end of lap 9 it's about time we go into the pits. We just about caught it fine on fuel. The pit lane is quite an easy one, and as you go in, look at the tyres, no need to change them, so we're not going to change our tyres. And then you've got a decision to make here. Do you fill up to the diamond and you're just going to have enough fuel to finish the race based on what you're currently doing, or if you really want, you can actually fill up that tank all the way up and just have a little fun with speed. Personally, I think I'm okay with the pace that I'm going at, I'm not going to do the extra fuel. I'm just going to go back out on track and carry on just doing the pace I've been doing, which I'm comfortable with anyway. And as we come up to the end of the race, we've just about nailed it on fuel. We're well ahead of the pack by over a minute. I think we lapped everyone till up to about P3, and we're doing it in just over 25 minutes. First place, nice easy drive. And as we go in, 25 minutes 6 seconds, we've lapped everyone but 2 cars. But what you really want is the credits at the end of it. As you can see, we got first place. The clean race bonus gives us 727,500 credits, and all I can say is an easy drive, that, isn't it? But there you have it, guys. This car's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And what do I mean by that? It means it's one car, you need to buy 2 parts, and you can take part in 3 different races. It's that easy. And if you enjoyed that one, just go ahead and click this button here, and it's another video on how you can make easy credits on Gran Turismo 7. Before you go, don't forget, go into the comment section, tell me what you think is your favourite emoji. Just that, favourite emoji. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've been Chunky Ribena, and I will see you on the next one. Chunky out.